This month on the podcast, we're going to talk about mentorship and coaching. And the way we're doing that is I'm going to talk to you about it a little bit today. And then I will actually interview a coach and a person who was coached by that person in our next episode. So today we're going to talk about mentorship, and you're probably noticing I'm dressed a little different. I've got my hoodie on today that is from Sheep Ranch. I just got back from Bandon. And while I was there, it was so funny. I texted a couple buddies of mine, Sean McCluskey and Patrick Palmer, who are kind of my golf mentors along with Casey Granstrom. And I text them, I'm like, hey, here's my scorecard already. And they text back and they're like, awesome. Think of yourself as an 11 handicap. You're going to do great. And like, they started just encouraging me. And I'm like, man, this is how I get better, is I have people in my life that will encourage me and show me what better is supposed to look like. From that, I started thinking about, all right, well, where has mentorship worked in the past in different areas? And this morning I did a little quick research on philosophy, which I love a lot. And what I learned is you don't get Aristotle unless you have Plato, and you don't get Plato unless you have Socrates. So back in the days of philosophy, they would basically just raise somebody up and that person would learn from them and then have their own takes. So you're not raising up a mirror of yourself. You're raising up somebody who can learn from the wisdom that you've gained and then go out and do great things. And this is in every area that you can look. It's in sports, like I said, philosophy. I started looking into skateboarding. There's a really good TED Talk with Rodney Mullen where he talks about how he got better, and he didn't have to go see people skate to learn from those tricks, take that information, make it better, and then give it back. You could actually see as people would go and like do videos of them skateboarding got better. Like everybody grew because you could get this information, you could film yourself, and you could drop that video back in. And so people started kind of mentoring each other, which made the whole industry really grow. It's everywhere. I actually texted my buddy Kai McBride this morning, who's a coach in the industry. And I was like, hey, who is your skating mentor? And he snapped back so fast. And I was like, okay, tell me about, your skating experience. And he started breaking down like the people in his life that he would follow and watch and grow from, and that could really help him become a better skater. What I started doing is looking at, where are my mentors? Where are my people that have kind of guided my journey? If you look at mentorship, the way that you can do this is start a list of those people who've affected you. I'm telling you right now, for me, this was really impactful. So I started a list with family. Who affected me in my family? And in that one's super easy. My dad taught me how to be a dad. And so he was my mentor in parenting and still is. So I'll reach out to him and be like, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. And he just has the way, like he's figured it out. The thing about a mentor is they're usually people who've made mistakes and gotten better with every mistake. And now they can tell me, hey, these are the mistakes I've made, so that I can then avoid some of those mistakes. In business, I've had mentors growing up. My mentor in this company was Frank Tate. I didn't know what I was doing when I launched a company back in 2003. Had no clue how to run a company, didn't even want to run one, but I knew that he would walk me through the process because he'd been there before. When things got really bad at the Coop, so back in 2008, 2009, the market just tanked. I didn't know if I could make it. I was in more debt than I had ever been in my entire life. And I found that I wasn't calling him because I was embarrassed. Like, he's somebody I look up to and I don't want him to know that I failed. And I'll never forget, he called me and he's like, hey, what's going on? And it'd been like 6 months since I called him. And I'm like, dude, what's going on is I'm a failure. Like, I've completely failed. I've broken everything. We're in debt. Everything's bad. And he's like, you're in debt? Like, what do you mean? I said, we're in the red. We're not making money and I'm going into debt. And he's like, do you think you're the only company that's ever been in the red? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Like, it sounds right. And he goes, no, companies go into the red and then they get better and things go better and then they get back into the black and then they're fine. And just that moment where he wasn't scared gave me that ability to get up and keep going. And then he goes, do you still love doing what you're doing? I'm like, I do. He said, is there still a need out there? And I said, there is. And he goes, then we keep going. And just that confidence. I didn't have the confidence. I needed somebody that I trusted to speak into my life in that moment and help me get back up and go. If you don't have that mentor, you start thinking you're the only one that's ever been a failure. But when you have somebody who's already done it, who's failed and succeeded, you get that advice from them. I mean, if you look, deeper into the different areas of your life, right now I'm being mentored in technology by a buddy named Joe Pator, who actually was the CTO of Mortgage Coach. And I'm calling him like, hey, with code, I'm asking him all these questions, and he's so nice to sit down and walk me through those things. Having somebody in different parts of your life that's been there, super helpful. So let's talk about mentorship as it relates to then coaching. I feel like coaching is different in that coaching is all about a specific area that I want to get better. We've agreed on that area. We've started working on that area as a team. So together we're working on my business. So Bill Hart is helping me understand, like, okay, what's the next step for me? What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? he also helps me understand like, okay, why do I want to get there? And does getting there make sense for me? Like he really breaks down my life as a coach would, just like a basketball coach would break down the game of their player. I had a ADHD coach that I met with that was so helpful. And again, she's not an ADHD mentor. She's a coach because she breaks down my life and goes, okay, what are you struggling with the most? My common thing, I'm late to a lot of stuff. And with ADHD, we don't have an ability to make priorities like 1 to 10. Everything's a 1. And my coach with ADHD was able to sit me down and go, let's break down what makes you the healthiest person you can be. Let's break down what makes you the most successful. And she taught me how to create a to-do list. I've got it now on my front page of my screen. She walked me through understanding my love of technology and that I'm not going to use pen and paper that much. She's like, cool, let's figure out a way that we can make an easy way for you to create and follow your to-do list. And she did it. She coached me to success. If I didn't have her, I'd still be making those mistakes. So think about all the mistakes you make and all the things that you struggle with and think, is there somebody that I could reach out to that might be able to help me, get to the next level? Last month, we had Katie Shive on the podcast, and Katie's been through a lot of it with marketing. If you haven't watched her episode, you have to go back and watch her episode. She's been through so much stuff, and now she's mentoring people, and now she's coaching people on their business. Great example of a good coach, but also we started this group called the AI Fight Club, which is a group of people that I collaborate with who are all just fascinated by AI. So we meet once a month and talk about where AI is and where it's going. And we all have different experiences. So I get the advantage of all the people around me that are going through the same thing I am and can work with me and collaborate with me. I was part of the same thing with Masters Coach with Building Champions. Masters Coach was a great time where we just sat around like, what are we dealing with? What are the struggles? How do we get through them? So get to be part of a collaborative group. Let me take a second and just speak to people in the mortgage industry or in sales in general. Sometimes we isolate and we're like, I'll just grow. I'll just do this myself. And I see it all the time where when I ask people, who are you brainstorming with? Who are you sitting down and collaborating with? They're like, well, nobody, it's my business. And I go, yeah, if it's your business, you're going to need some other people around you to help you work on that, or you're going to keep just getting the ideas that are already in your head. And what I promise you is there are people who are willing to share, who are willing to participate in this. Let me give you one final thought. We've talked about being mentored, but I want to talk to you about you being a mentor. I'm finding that I've made so many mistakes, I now qualify as a mentor. As you get through life, you gain wisdom. Man, I wish wisdom came earlier. Knowledge comes pretty early. Wisdom doesn't come until you've made a lot of mistakes. And I found that I actually qualify to be a mentor. And so now I'm looking for people that I can speak into their lives, and it's awesome. So if you've been through some things, like find somebody that you could help. Be on the lookout for that. Sometimes we feel like those failures make us unqualified. Actually, when you've fallen down a number of times and figured out how to get up or had somebody else help you up, you are absolutely qualified to go speak into the lives of other people. So find those people that you can help, leave a legacy in this industry, and find ways to share your wisdom with those who need it. Like I said, this is our month of mentorship. This is our month of coaching. I'm always sad when I hear somebody say that when they become successful, they'll be able to afford a coach. No, you've got to get a coach before you can afford it sometimes, just trusting that that's going to be the right thing for the next level of your business. So what I'd love for you to do is share some stories about mentorship. I would love for you to tell us who affected your life. And then the other thing I would ask you to do this month is go find somebody that you would list as somebody who's affected your life and tell them. Sometimes we get through something and then we're like, sweet, I'm through it, now on to the next thing. But when you get through something, going back to those people that helped you and saying, I want you to know that when I was going through this tough time, your words, the thing you did, the meal you dropped off, whatever, that affected and changed my life. Go out this month, make your list of people that have affected you and go thank them. Tell them the impact that they've had, because it'll do a couple things. Number one, it'll tell them that meant something. But number two, it's going to encourage them to keep doing that for other people. And together we can actually make change in this world that way. It's my challenge for you this month. And I can't wait for you to hear the next podcast with Catherine Peterson and Michael Regan talking about coaching, being coached, mentorship, and these things that are our topic for this month. So I will see you next time.